how's it going? Welcome. Trying to figure out my microphone here. And the sound of my telescope. You know, by the way, that sound that you're hearing on the telescope there, those are motors. You know, they're there for a reason, because the sky, the moon, is in motion. Fact of the day. So what a world to live in. Whoops, let's do this. There we go. What a world that we live in. It's amazing, actually. The time that we live in, I think, is probably more amazing than anything about the world. The things happening in the world are pretty crazy. Let's see. I just want to show you guys something. I'm just fast forwarding a little bit. All right.
Because we are the center of creation.
That's right.
We are important.
That's right.
We are here.
We are God's children. It makes me feel better. It makes me feel alive. I feel better about it.
Because
I believe in God. I trust God. That's right. I understand that. I understand they just say what they want people to know. They don't care about the Bible. They don't care about life. They only care about I, me, myself, and I. It's a different world.
So
I pray every night before I go to bed. And one night things weren't happening right. And I sat up in bed and I said, God, where are you? I need you right now. And I'm beginning to wonder, where is God?
God's right above us in the clouds. The heavens are right here. There's just this world.
Oh, it's such a lie. I woke up.
Yes. So knowing this is going to
It
free
makes
your
me
heart.
Cry.
Yeah, that's okay.
It makes me cry.
Happiness.
Yes.
Tears of
yes,
joy.
Yes, yes. I know that we were true, and they're hiding us. It's good.
It's very good.
Yes, yes.
All right.
I'm awake.
Yes.
I'm awake.
All right. Thank you so much.
And it's my pleasure.
All right.
It's my pleasure to know that it's true.
It is absolutely true.
Oh, it's amazing.
here's the-
No, I believe it. I believe it.
Yeah.
Oh,
So good, right? I'm glad we met.
Crying. I'm so happy.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. It's right. Thank you. I'm amazed. I'm so happy to know it's true.
It's true, and God created this world.
Yes,
And He's right here in the clouds above, close, not in an infinite universe. So good, right?
And I can't get over it. Made me cry.
Made me cry too.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Ruth, give me a hug. Here we go.
I need it.
Yeah, it made all of us cry, probably, Ruth. What a sweet lady, huh? And David, of course, thank you, David, for doing stuff like this. Because it actually probably means a lot more than... It means something to many more people than just Ruth. Anybody that watches this can probably understand a little bit of that. So, have you guys ever heard of Second Esdras? It is a book that was in the Bible. It was in the King James Bible in 1611, but by the time we get to the Bible we have today, it is not in there. And it is full of awesome information that Ezra wrote down. And we are going to go over a story that Ezra told about a vision that Ezra saw, or was shown, or whatever. So this is 2nd Esdras chapter 13. And welcome everyone, by the way. Good to see everyone here. Here we go. 2nd Esdras chapter 13. This is the New Revised Standard Version. Verse 1. After 7 days I dreamed a dream in the night, and lo, a wind arose from the sea and stirred up all its waves. As I kept looking, the wind made something like the figure of a man come up out of the heart of the sea. And I saw that this man flew with the clouds of heaven, and wherever he turned his face to look, everything under his gaze trembled. And whenever his voice issued from his mouth, all who heard his voice melted as wax melts when it feels the fire. After this I looked and saw that an innumerable multitude of people were gathered together from the four winds of heaven to make war against the man who came up out of the sea. And I looked and saw, as he carved out for himself a great mountain and flew up onto it. And I tried to see the region or place from which that mountain was carved, but I could not. After this I looked and saw that all who had gathered together against him to wage war with him were filled with fear, yet they dared to fight. When he saw the onrush of the approaching multitude, he neither lifted his hand nor held a spear or any weapon of war. But I saw only how he sent forth from his mouth something like a stream of fire, and from his lips a flaming breath, and from his tongue he shot forth a storm of sparks. All these were mingled together, the stream of fire and the flaming breath and the great storm, and fell on the onrushing multitude that was prepared to fight, and burned up all of them, so that suddenly nothing was seen of the innumerable multitude, but only the dust of ashes and the smell of smoke. When I saw it, I was amazed. After this I saw the same man come down from the mountain and call to himself another multitude that was peaceable. Then many people came to him, some of whom were joyful and some sorrowful. Some of them were bound, and some were bringing others as offerings. Then I woke up in great terror and prayed to the Most High and said, From the beginning you have showed your servant these wonders, and have deemed me worthy to have my prayer heard by you. Now show me the interpretation of this dream also, for as I consider it in my mind, alas for those who will be left in those days, and still more, alas for those who are not left. For those who are not left will be sad, because they understand the things that are reserved for the last days, but cannot attain them. But alas for those who are left, and for that very reason, for they shall see great dangers and much distress, as these dreams show. Yet it is better to come into these things, though incurring peril, than to pass from the world like a cloud, and not to see what will happen in the last days. He answered me and said, I will tell you the interpretation of the vision, and I will also explain to you the things that you have mentioned. As for what you said about those who survive, and concerning those who do not survive, this is the interpretation. The one who brings the peril at that time will protect those who fall into peril, who have works and faith toward the Almighty. Understand therefore that those who are left are more blessed than those who have died. This is the interpretation of the vision. As for your seeing a man come up from the heart of the sea, this is he whom the Most High has been keeping for many ages, who will himself deliver his creation. And he will direct those who are left. And as for your seeing wind and fire and a storm come out of his mouth, and as for his not holding a spear or weapon of war, yet destroying the onrushing multitude that came to conquer him, this is the interpretation. The days are coming when the Most High will deliver those who are on the earth, and bewilderment of mind shall come over those who inhabit the earth. They shall plan to make war against one another, city against city, place against place, people against people, and kingdom against kingdom. When these things take place and the signs occur that I showed you before, then my Son will be revealed, whom you saw as a man coming up from the sea. Then when all the nations hear his voice, all the nations shall leave their own lands and the warfare that they have one against one another, and an innumerable multitude shall be gathered together as you saw, wishing to come and conquer him. But he shall stand on the top of Mount Zion, and Zion shall come and be made manifest to all people, prepared and built as you saw the mountain carved without hands. Then he, my Son, will reprove the assembled nations for their ungodliness. This was symbolized by the storm, and will reproach them to their face with their evil thoughts and the torments with which they are to be tortured, which were symbolized by the flames, and will destroy them without effort by means of the law, which was symbolized by the fire. And as for your seeing him gather to himself another multitude that was peaceable, these are the 9 tribes that were taken away from their own land into exile in the days of King Hoshea, whom Shalmaneser, king of the Assyrians, made captives. He took them across the river, and they were taken into another land. But they formed this plan for themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the nations and go to a more distant region, where no human beings had ever lived, so that there at least they might keep their statutes that they had not kept in their own land. And they went in by the narrow passages of the Euphrates River, for at that time the Most High performed signs for them, and stopped the channels of the river until they had crossed over. Through that region there was a long way to go, a journey of 1.5 years, and that country is called Arzareth. Then they lived there until the last times, and now, when they are about to come again, the Most High will stop the channels of the river again, so that they may be able to cross over. Therefore you saw the multitude gathered together in peace, but those who are left of your people, who are found within my holy borders, shall be saved. Therefore, when he destroys the multitude of the nations that are gathered together, he will defend the people who remain, and then he will show them very many wonders. I said, O sovereign Lord, explain this to me. Why did I see the man coming up from the heart of the sea? He said to me, just as no one can explore or know what is in the depths of the sea, so no one on earth can see my Son or those who are with him, except in the time of his day. This is the interpretation of the dream that you saw, and you alone have been enlightened about this, because you have forsaken your own ways and have applied yourself to mine, and have searched out my law. For you have devoted your life to wisdom and called understanding your mother. Therefore I have shown you these things, for there is a reward laid up with the Most High. For it will be that after 3 more days I will tell you other things and explain weighty and wondrous matters to you. Then I got up and walked in the field, giving great glory and praise to the Most High for the wonders that he does from time to time, and because he governs the times and whatever things come to pass in their seasons. And I stayed there 3 days. Okay, so in that story, in that dream that we just read, he saw what looked like a man coming up out of the heart of the sea. But when I read that, I think that that's talking about the waters above, because it said something about he was moving among the clouds or something like that. He was flying among the clouds. So that was Jesus in that vision. Or the dream, I guess. I don't remember if it was a vision or a dream. And I see in the chat, Justine DeVoe, that's good. Her daughter just got out of the hospital. And so that's good. That's very good that she's not there anymore. But she's still got to heal up. She's 35 and in pain. So, and her name's Kaylin. And so we can pray for Kaylin to, I like what, who was that said that? A swift recovery. Jack the Giant Slayer? May her recovery be swift. So hopefully, that's something that's scary. That's scary when someone has chest pain and stuff like that and goes into the hospital. You never know if they're coming out. But in that vision, so he saw, I'm actually going to open up a page here really quick, and I'll eventually get you over to, not quite yet though, because we're going to watch one video. I just want to look this up. At the beginning of that, it says, I had a dream during the night. I looked and saw a wind rising from the sea and stirring up all of its waves. As I watched, this wind made something like the figure of a man come up out of the heart of the sea. So, but listen to what this says. This is very important, I think. It says, that man was flying among the clouds of heaven. Wherever he turned his face to look, everything that fell under his gaze trembled. Wherever an utterance came from his mouth, all who heard his voice melted as wax melts when it feels a fire. Now, this is Jesus, and remember right after that, Ezra watched as he carved a great mountain for himself and flew onto it. So he's up in the sky on a mountain, and that brings me right to where we're going to go right now. Revelation 14. Because John saw this same scene, or whatever you want to call it, this vision. John saw this same thing. This is Revelation 14. And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Sion, and with him 144,000, having his father's name written in their foreheads. Well, if we look at this vision, in verse 12, after these things I saw the same man coming down from the mountain and calling to himself another crowd, a peaceful one. Many came to him. Some were rejoicing and some were sad. Some were even tied up, and while some were bringing other people as an offering. I think a lot of people here can probably relate to what, that part of the story, of the dream. But that seems to be this group he has with him, 144,000. So he came down from the mountain and gathered these 144,000. Verse 2 in Revelation 14, and I heard a voice from heaven as the voice of many waters and as the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps. And they sung as it were a new song before the throne and before the four beasts and the elders. And no man could learn that song but the 144,000, which were redeemed from the earth. These are they which were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. These are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. These were redeemed from among men, being the firstfruits unto God and to the Lamb. And in their mouth was found no guile, for they are without fault before the throne of God. So, there's this mention of a gospel being preached. And we'll read that right here in verse 6. And I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth. So that would be us, to preach unto us, because we're dwelling on the earth. It says, and to every nation and kindred and tongue and people, saying with a loud voice, fear God, and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come, and worship him that made heaven and earth and the sea and the fountains of waters. That almost sounds like something that I think is like widely on all sorts of platforms and everything being preached. That there is God, and that we've been twisted away from that when we were born, which seems unfair. But if we really think of the situation we were born in. We were born believing that we were in some dark solar system, circling around the sun, and rotating on some spinning earth, when that's not what the Bible says at all. The Bible doesn't say that. 1 Chronicles 16 verse 30 says, what does it say? The earth, maybe we'll have to go there. I don't want to say it wrong. But it says the earth doesn't move. It says, fear before him all the earth. The world also shall be stable, that it be not moved. And for those of you who want to make excuses about the meanings of words, we'll go look at that verse and we'll look at the Hebrew words that we have. Tremble before him all the earth. Also, the world is firmly established. It shall be moved not. So, that's pretty clear. What does it mean? What word is firmly established? K-U-N, kun, to be firm. Everyone, look at the ground in the room you're in. Tell me, is it firm? Mine is. It's firm. So we verified that the Bible is true right now. Okay. There's many places in the Bible that talk about the world being still. Like actually, there's lots of places. I could go lots of places. The earth isn't moving. Just the same way that we all observe it and experience it as still and not moving. Some people want to say right now, well, imagine you're in an airplane with no windows and you're moving 600 miles an hour. You wouldn't know you're moving. First of all, that's a dumb thing to try to make a point. You're not making a point, even to yourself. All you're doing is you're saying something about something totally unrelated and not at all significant to the conversation that is at hand, that the earth is not moving. Has nothing to do with a moving airplane. In fact, if you're moving 600 miles on an airplane, you also believe that the earth is still, because that's how you determine the speed that you're going in the airplane, is by the distance traveled on the still ground beneath it. Plus, you have to take off in an airplane, and you have to climb up to that speed to where you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. So, unless you have a short memory and can't remember that you just launched on a airplane or just took off on an airplane, then I would have to say it's probably something that you're just making an excuse so that you can keep believing the opposite of what you observe and experience, which is clearly a stationary earth. There's another group of people that say, no, I observed the earth rotating. And I kind of just like cringe a little when people say that to me, but they say it to me all the time. And so my answer back usually is, can you tell me what you observe on the earth that's rotating? And they immediately will say, the sun, moon, and stars. So, is this really, these are science deniers, guys. They're not interested in science. They're interested in the cult that they're in. They believe in a lie, and they'll stand for it. They'll even make up lies in their own mind. I don't know if they try to do this or not. I don't think they even try. It's because we were born into this way of thinking. So the world thinks this way. But guess what? I don't think that way anymore. I can't. It makes no sense. The world is not moving. That's very... well, how about if I said this? You've never observed the world rotating. And so if you have, all you're actually doing is you're being delusional and saying that because you saw the sky rotating, that you think the Earth's rotating. Okay, that's not what you experience. You don't experience the Earth rotating. We all experience the sky rotating. Every 4-year-old child knows that. They know that the stars move in the night sky. Every child knows that. It's not because they're smart. It's because they can make an observation and they can clearly think about what they're observing and say, yes, this is not moving. They haven't been indoctrinated and taken stock in this lie that it's the opposite of what we observe. So they know the truth. So if you have children, teach them the truth, by the way. Okay, let's go back to Revelation. Or wait, no, I was going to play a video. Let me go back to this. Okay. So, John in Revelation, which we'll go back to after this video, just a short video. He saw a dragon in heaven. And that's significant.
Early Sunday morning, the SpaceX Dragon cargo spacecraft was installed on the Earth-facing side of the Harmony module, 3 days after its launch from Cape Canaveral Air Force Station in Florida.
And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority.
European Space Agency astronaut Luca Parmitano grappled the Dragon using the space station's robotic arm, Canadarm2, and NASA astronaut Andrew Morgan provided backup. The SpaceX Dragon brings 5,700 pounds of research, crew supplies, and hardware to the space station.
They worshipped the dragon which gave power unto the beast, and they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him?
See the International Space Station with your naked I've seen it. You know, you look up, and people are looking at it, and they got their binoculars, and they're looking at it, and you know, it's a little light, God, and it's moving. No.
Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him?
Right now, you can log on to the internet if you want to. And you can go to the International Space Station, the ISS, and you can get a live feed from that space station. Right now, you can watch it as it moves across the face of the earth.
Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him?
Think of all these people that are going to be going up.
The Dragon will spend about 1 month at the station and then return to Earth with cargo and research results.
And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast.
Thousands of photographs and videos from the space station as it moved in the heavens above the earth. It such a magnificent sight, it took his breath away.
Space is so incredibly black, so incredibly dark. It's a bottomless pit. Bottomless pit.
It's a bottomless pit. You know what's funny is that NASA says the same thing. Just ask the astronauts on the space station. What are they doing? Oh, they're continuously and perpetually falling. Free falling. 0G. They're just falling into darkness. They think they got it under control. But things are about to change. You know, I don't know when. Things will change. Because the prophets saw them change. And the prophets saw the very things that we're seeing today. So I wanted to say hi to everyone, and Beck from Oz, and Yaz Child, Truth Seeds, Edward the Christian. I'm going to talk about your question here. Tony from Coffee House Theology, Jack the Giant Slayer, Galatians 4:16, Justine DeVoe, and I'm going to miss people, I know I am. Michael J. Spencer, good to see you guys. And Question the Answers, and Marlo 1959, and Karen Ann Preston. And I'm going all the way to the top. And Wake Up, and Dean HD, and Jamie Morton. And I think that was everyone. If I missed you, I apologize. Tiger Bear, welcome. Edward the Christian says, do you get extra points in heaven if you think the earth is flat or round? That's a good question. Seems a bit sarcastic of a question, but I do have thoughts on the answer to questions like that. Apostasy. What I believe, Shauna Beck and Outside the Four Walls with Yahuwah. Good to see you guys. My thoughts, I'm going to tell you what I believe about it, and you can take it or leave it, but I believe that we were born just into the world that we were born into, and we were kind of born into a world that was sort of being run by a king named Apollo. And everyone that is in here, everyone alive today, not everyone alive today. Yeah, everyone alive today. Was born under the circumstances that we already went to the moon. So that was normal conversation for us kids when we were growing up. This was normal conversation for us. Normal. And the way I look at it now, it's such a ridiculous idea to think that we can go to the moon. Have you ever looked up at the moon? You see it up in the sky there? I don't know. But I think that as far as why flat Earth, why is it important? Well, there's a lot of reasons why I believe it's important. First of all, it's the truth. And second of all, it's a truth that's been hidden, that is not hidden anymore. And I mean like supernaturally hidden. Not in a way that we just didn't figure it out yet. Not in the way that NASA's hiding it and we figured it out. That's not at all the way I see it. I see it as we were born into a time when the world didn't believe in God. There's definitely churches and people believed in Jesus, but they didn't believe what he said. They didn't believe what he said. So, what has Flat Earth done? Well, there's a couple things that I believe that it is. I believe it's the gospel of the kingdom of God. And people will be like, what? That's not the gospel. Well, I was being very, very specific there. You know, Jesus taught the gospel of the kingdom in synagogues when he was walking on the earth. And people talk about the gospel. Well, I think today, I think that it's coming true what Jesus said when he was on the earth about what would happen. And in Matthew 24, verse 14, he said that, and this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached unto all nations as a witness, and then shall the end come. So let's actually look at a couple things here. Let me bring you over to the desktop. Let's look at something. Let's go to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. I just want to show you my point of view here. I mean, I'm not saying that I know anything you don't know. This is just what I believe. So Paul was writing a letter to the Thessalonians. And he talks about the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ. Right here. Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ and by our gathering together unto him. First of all, I want to say that I think that that's been happening. And a lot of it's like on YouTube and things like this, like on Facebook and things. People have been gathering together. So keep that in mind. But I think that we're gathering for the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ. And it says a few things, let no man deceive you and all these things, but it talks about a falling away, and we'll look at the let's do this. Verse 3, it says in the King James, it says, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. So this falling away, I think that we were born into a time that is this falling away. That's what I believe. And I can just show you, well, before we leave the 2 Thessalonians, I want to just show you something else. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power, signs, and lying wonders, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. So Paul's telling them about receiving the love of the truth and being saved. And it says, and for this cause God shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie, that they all might be damned who believed not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. That's one reason why I think it's important that people consider the flat earth. Because I believe that it is the truth, and I didn't think this before my whole life. Neither did you. This is a new way of thinking for anyone that's in the world. Anyone. And Question the Answers says, they conditioned us to always think of the moon as a place to help concrete the deception. Yes, and you know what? Anytime I see the word they, my mind goes right to that word. And I want to point out another thing that Paul wrote to the Ephesians. He said, we're not struggling against flesh. Our battle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers of the darkness of this world. And I'll tell you what, I think that's talking about space. Because I think that is the bottomless pit, and I think it is darkness. Well, it is darkness. I mean, just look at it. But when they go sideways into that secret place to go into orbit, I believe that they're sinking into Sheol, like Enoch talked about. And it's swallowing them up. And they think that it's a good thing for humanity, which is crazy. But so when I see the word they, I realize that it's not any people. It's not, NASA isn't faking the space station at all. NASA's being deceived into building a space station and wanting to ascend into heaven, just like the Nimrod's family wanted to do, and they built that tower in that city. They wanted to ascend into heaven. Lucifer says in his heart, I will ascend into heaven. And when Jesus was here, he said, and no man hath ascended up to heaven but he that came down from heaven. So there's a lot of things that I think are important about just this topic of the shape of the earth. I don't really think it's all that important what shape the earth is. But it's more or less like that, the one verse we looked at, the world is stable that it be not moved. That's pretty clear. Welcome, Rebel Snarfle and John Garlic. Good to see you guys. I'm trying to make sure that I say hi to everyone when they come in. John Garlick says, under the sun, not spinning around the sun. And isn't it interesting that all the... Well, let me get an image up on the screen here. I just want to show you something interesting that someone was talking about this on YouTube. I don't remember who it was, but someone was talking about this aspect of kind of two things that kind of relate to each other in a weird way. Not a weird way, but a very kind of literal way. Enoch 71. Sorry, I'm trying to multitask here and I'm no good at it. Enoch 71, Enoch's spirit is translated into the heavens. And he saw all the angels, like thousands and 10,000 times 10,000 angels, encircling a certain house where the throne of God was. And when I look up at the night sky, let me see if I can find this. I must have already had it in here because I can't find it. Sorry. My software gives me trouble sometimes. Or it's actually that I have so many videos in here right now that I'm just having a hard time finding them. But star trails. This is what we see when we look up in the sky. Let me actually grab a video and we'll watch it. We'll watch the first half of it anyway. Sorry. I have to get it. And it actually, I'll read Enoch, part of Enoch chapter 71 in this video, and then you'll understand, I guess, what I'm learning. Okay, encircling that house. About heaven, and it's interesting that John in Revelation said he saw a new heaven and a new earth. And what's interesting to me is, in a certain way, I do too. I don't see the same earth. I don't see the same heaven that I did 5 years ago. And it came to pass after this that my spirit was translated, and it ascended into the heavens. And I saw the holy sons of God. They were stepping on flames of fire. Their garments were white, and their raiment and their faces shone like snow. And I saw 2 streams of fire, and the light of that fire shone like hyacinth. And I fell on my face before the Lord of spirits. And the angel Michael, one of the archangels, seized me by my right hand, and lifted me up, and led me forth into all the secrets. And he showed me all the secrets of righteousness. And he showed me all the secrets of the ends of the heaven, and all the chambers of all the stars, and all the luminaries, whence they proceed before the face of the holy ones. And he translated my spirit into the heaven of heavens, and I saw there, as it were, a structure built of crystals, and between those crystals tongues of living fire. And my spirit saw the girdle which girt that house of fire, and on its 4 sides were streams full of living fire, and they girt that house. And round about were seraphim, cherubim, and ophanim. And these are they who sleep not, and guard the throne of his glory. And I saw angels who could not be counted, 1,000 thousands and 10,000 times 10,000, encircling that house. Okay, I just paused it there because I don't want to take forever to point this out. But so, did you hear what Enoch just said? He saw thousands and thousands of angels encircling that house, and that's where the throne of God was. Now, that's just Enoch's testimony about his spirit being translated up into the heavens. Okay, I believe what he said. Otherwise, I don't think that we would have this knowledge. I don't think we would understand it this way. And if you want to miss out on a whole story of reality, just imagine that those stars going around in a circle right there, just imagine that that's because you're actually spinning. Don't pay any attention to reality. Do you get what I'm saying? You're going to miss out on the entire story of reality if you think you're rotating on the ground that's rotating when it's actually not, and when the sky's rotating. Pay attention to your surroundings, and you might learn something very important. I will play it again, Tony. Just the last, I don't know, 15 seconds or something. Seraphim, cherubim, and Ophanim, and these are they who sleep not, and guard the throne of his glory. And I saw angels who could not be counted, 1,000 thousands and 10,000 times 10,000, encircling that house. So they were encircling that house. Hey, Gary Wybanga. Gary's my buddy from when I go over to the Globe channels. Gary's like one of the only guys over there that knows the truth. So good to see you, Gary. Yeah, so the way I look at it is that the stars are encircling that house. There's actually something else that I want to point out in this video. Just one other verse, and it's right here. Isaiah, I missed it. Hey, Bob from Globebusters, what's up? Good to see you. So here's a verse that I look at the sky a lot differently now. So check this out. And glorified and extolled. Lift up your eyes on high, and behold who hath created these things, that bringeth out their host by number. He calleth them all by names, by the greatness of his might. For that he is strong in power, not one faileth. So that is what I look at it as. It says, lift up your eyes on high, and behold who hath created these things. I'm not saying that we know what God looks like or something. Welcome, Lance. Good to see you. But what I am saying is that Isaiah said to look up and see who made all this. And I believe that that's the kingdom of heaven, or the kingdom of God, that we're looking at when we look at the stars. When we look at the sky, we look at like Polaris in the center. Maybe that is the throne of God. We don't know. That's what Enoch said, though. Hi, Megs F. Good to see you. So the interesting thing about heliocentrism, and the planets, okay, they don't do the same. They're not like the fixed stars. They're not doing these same motions. Oh, here's another reminder about what science is. Okay, we've been scammed, and actually Bob from Globebusters is one of the people that has made a huge difference in the way that people think about what science is. Science is a cult these days, or Robbie Davidson called it scientism. It's a cult. It's a religion. Because here, let me just play this video. You'll understand what I mean about science rejecting reality.
Modern science is failing you. Today in so-called science, the only observations we make while we experience this natural world must be rejected. Here is an example where reality is being ignored and rejected before the so-called science even begins. I have debated people on YouTube that want to tell me that the Earth is spinning like this green basketball. I would ask you to think about actually accepting the reality you live in instead. There is a good reason why I say that the sky is rotating above the stationary Earth. Here are some observations made that so-called science must reject.
See, if you're going to look at that and you're not going to take it for what it is, you're going to miss out. Look at the stars moving. Look at the ground. Well, this is like some editing being done, but the stars move in a circle over the Earth. There's no disputing that. That's a fact. The sun moves over the Earth. So if you're going to imagine that it's not what it is, people tell me that looking up at the stars like that is observing the Earth rotating. Are you kidding me? It's the complete opposite. So that's something that'll always bug me, and it's like it's been taught. So this falling away, this is what I'm talking about. We were taught that we were circling around the sun. When then I'm 44 years old and I learn, oh, well, all those stars that are obeying God, or the good angels, or whatever you want to call them, the ones that aren't fallen, they're continually on a precise and repeating path, flying around God's throne. And they also tell us the time and the year and the seasons. The sky is a clock as well. That's how the whole Earth tells what year it is, or what, how long it takes for a year to go by. And here's an interesting thing that with time, if we were cruising around the sun, and if the sun was cruising around the Milky Way galaxy or whatever, what I'm saying is we wouldn't be able to tell time because it would be different every year. Oh, but they're light years away. Okay, great. There's another excuse so you can continue believing your lie. Globebuster says the stars all move at the same speed. No parallax, impossible in a heliocentric model. Yes, and to measure parallax, that's kind of a whole scam in itself. Like I don't think that you go and look at the sky in June and then you go look at it in December or something, and you think you're gonna measure a parallax, like a difference in the angle to those stars, and if you do, you're gonna try to tell me how far away they are because of that? Well, again, like Jeranism said, then the sun and moon are the same distance from the Earth because they're the same size. If we're going to use math or geometry or whatever, or trigonometry, we're going to come up with the same distance. So the only other little excuse I've heard is, well, we've had Mercury transit the sun. Great. That means that probably, and not the moon. So that means probably that Mercury is somewhere between the sun and the moon. Not too tough. Lance says, do stars have a zigzag depending where you're at on the Earth? Like it would have a wobble. I'm saying like the stars wouldn't be just moving circular unless you're in the center. That's what you'd think, but you can go anywhere in the world and point your camera. Like if you're in the northern hemisphere. If you're in the north, I'll say, you can point your camera north and you will see circles in the sky no matter where you are, anywhere. If you go in the south, you can point your camera the opposite way, point it south, and you will see circles in the sky no matter where you are. So there's a ridiculous argument where the people want to ridicule the idea that there can't be two centers of axis of rotation. Well, there's actually only one. And they have the globe side has all these false arguments, and people go around saying them. They don't even understand what they're saying. I was just this week, I had a conversation in one of my videos in the chat or in the comments, and somebody, maybe I should share that. That would be kind of funny, wouldn't it? Let me see if I can find it quick. The things that these people say are so wrong, and they actually think that they're right, and they think that like they're some, master astronomer or something, and when they don't even have a telescope and they've never even looked through one, but because they watch MC Toon or Fight the Flat Earth or whoever, that they are some genius. But I do have to say that these people are not really that genius. Let me go back. Let me just see if I can refresh this page. Okay, it was under this video, or no, which video was it under? Pseudo motion versus actual motion. I'm going to bring you over to the desktop. This is funny. We'll read a couple of these comments. Which one was it? It was this one right here. I won't give myself a copyright strike, don't worry. I'm just kidding.
Okay, we're going outside.
Actually, so in this video, all I was pointing out was that the Earth is stationary, and that's what we all observe and experience. So if you want to reject it, that's up to you. So I don't remember which comment it was. There was a lot of 109 replies. It must be this one. Yeah, Rob Kiwi. Moon doesn't produce light. It reflects sunlight. That's what they said. So we're going to look at these. GR Cleve says it produces cold light. And then, see, this is where Rob Kiwi, you see all the laughing? Just wait. See, he's stereotyping the flat earthers already. But I said, how do you think you know that? Like that it doesn't make its own light. And Rob Kiwi, I don't know if these are in order or not. Are they? It's hard to. I don't think that he would have answered me with this right here. The stars don't move in opposite directions in the north and the south. They all move the same direction of rotation. Oh, that was me writing it to him. Okay, let me. YouTube's just so dumb. Like, this is why a lot of times I don't comment back on some things, because of how dumb YouTube is with their comments. Like, I'm still looking for his reply to me, and obviously it's way down here. Okay, Rob Kiwi says, F'd up world, that's stupid. Okay, that isn't the right one either. See, how do you know which comment it is? Because there was a few of them. Whoops, did I pass it up? No. That was the sheltering sky. Oh, okay. Basically, they were saying, see, this is, thanks YouTube. Sorry, guys. So this is where I sent him a video. I said, don't comment anymore until you watch this video. A video where I went on Stellarium and showed clearly that this is how the sky works. If you're facing north, it's going to appear to be anti-clockwise. And if you turn yourself around 180 degrees, it's going to be spinning the same way, but you're going to be looking at it the opposite way. And so it's going to appear to be clockwise. Has nothing to do with the sky. The sky is all rotating in one direction. All stars, no matter if you're in the south or the north, all stars rise in the east and set in the west. They all move the same direction over the entire Earth. But that's one of those false things that the globe channels get going. I mean, I even told that to Craig. I tried to explain it to him from Fight the Flat Earth, and he would rather laugh at me and think that he's right. That's called like the Dunning-Kruger effect. But so anyway, with this Rob, I said I've spent a lot of time looking up at the sky and studying the motion of the sky. Let's see here. This is where I was trying to explain it to him. The axis of rotation of the sky in the north circles anti-clockwise. You have to face north to see this. As you look north, make note that 90 degrees to your left is west. The stars are setting in the west. Now turn around and face south, the south axis of rotation. Like if you're at the equator, you'd be looking north, and you'd have to look 180 degrees from that direction in order to see the south center, or the axis of rotation. But I wrote, which will now appear to rotate clockwise, and make note that 90 degrees to your right is west. The stars are all setting in the west. It's the same everywhere on the earth. It is the fact that you have to face the opposite direction that makes the rotation appear to be opposite, but it is all the same direction, both north and south. So I don't know where, yeah. And that's one of the last, I think this was the last comment that I left him. You won't ever understand what the sky does if you don't want to know what it does. I have spent many years studying the motion of the stars, and you are in error. Here's a video where I use stellarium to explain it to you. Watch the full video before you comment again. And then I think he actually commented a few more comments, but I didn't. He said, laughs. That video supports the globe. I can't believe you sent me this to watch. Thank you. So how is you've seen this, don't you understand that it only works on a globe? Yeah, I'm not misunderstanding anything here. If you want to pretend it only works on a globe, that's great. I'm just checking my comment here. I've been talking with this guy a little bit today. Exist Dissolve. Seems like a nice enough fella. We were talking about Revelation 13. And the fire coming down from heaven, and he was thinking I was reading into the text. But anyway, back to a different topic. To this, let me get something here. So, what is space? It's the bottomless pit. Yes, Gary Wybanga, you're right on. The Globy arguments have had to evolve over the years after people examine them and find they don't actually work. So many of those. So many. Let's see here. I'm checking the comments out. You can use Polaris or sun angles for latitude lines. It's almost as if Polaris and the sun are equal heights above the surface of the earth. Oh yeah, I never even thought about that. Probably no matter where you are in the north. Well, maybe. I guess I'd have to think about that. Let's see. The geometry of perspective is the Globy's imaginary curve. Yeah, and that's something that there's... If you look out to the sea and there's a boat sailing away from you and it appears to be going down like a curve, like down like that, does it at all cross anybody's mind that if you watch an airplane fly in the same direction right over that boat, that it's going to appear to disappear just as well from the bottom side up? That doesn't mean the plane is near the ground. It doesn't mean that there's a curved surface. That's called an optical illusion. The boat's going to do that 3 or 4 miles ahead of you if you're standing at the shore. It's going to start disappearing 3 or 4 miles ahead of you, yet you can look left to right and see a couple 100 miles, and there's no curve. Optical illusion. So, there's that. Oh, I'm going to play a ridiculous video just for fun. Welcome, Buzzin23. Good to see you. Oh, maybe. Oh, there we. That was called Space Pimp. Oh wait, there's more. There's me on the space station, you guys. I'm on the left. Okay, so there was that. That's always so much fun. So let's see here. Let me go to this video. William Shatner just rode into space. So let's hear what he has to say about that dark abyss up there.
Is there death? I don't know. Is that death? Is that the way death is? Whoop! And it's gone. But to see the blue color go whoop by, and now you're staring into black. Well, it's blue sky. And then suddenly you shoot through it all of a sudden, as though you whip off a sheet off you when you're asleep, and you're looking into blackness, into black ugliness. And you look down, there's the blue down there, and the black up there, and it's there. Is there death? I don't know. Is that death? Is that the way death is? Whoop! And it's gone. Like a beat, and suddenly you're through the blue. And you're into black. And you're into, it's mysterious and galaxies and things. But what you see is black. And what you see down there is light. And that's the difference. And not to have this, it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the enormity and the quickness and the suddenness of life and death. And oh my God. It's something.
It's so beautiful.
Beautiful, yes, beautiful in its way, but...
No, I mean your words.
Oh, my words.
It's just amazing. What you were saying about shooting through it so fast.
So quickly, 50 miles.
Then you're just in blackness.
You're in death.
Yeah.
The moment...
This is life.
This is life, and that's death. And it's in an instant, you go, wow, that's death. That's what I saw.
That's amazing.
Is the death around the earth that's startling. How this beautiful, shining oasis of life is there naked in the middle of pitch black death.
You're in death.
Yeah.
The moment...
This is life.
This is life, and that's death. And it's in an instant, you go, wow, that's death. That's what I saw.
That's amazing.
Death. In the middle of pitch black death, a vacuum of space. Is the death around the earth that's startling.
The weird part about it is space is so incredibly black, so incredibly dark. It's a bottomless pit of deep black, almost so deep it almost has a texture when you look at it.
Wandering stars, to whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever. Whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever. The blackness of darkness forever. Well, I believe he's clearly talking about hell. Because in the Bible, there's a place where there's darkness forever. And it's called hell and the lake of fire.
Is there death? I don't know. Is that death? Is that the way death is? Whoop! And it's gone.
Gary's right. Trying to hide God. Good luck on that one, guys. We broke through that, didn't we? So that's footage right there from the space shuttle. I think that's footage of unclean spirits, something like that, in Sheol. A lot of people think I'm crazy, but there's a lot of crazy things happening. Let's see here. Okay. Just for Tony Coffee House Theology, it's like when people are like talking and I just have a hard time hearing what they're saying.
No, it's because I'm distanced from you. You'd probably have a hard time hearing from me right now. Should I have a mask on and that be muffled?
Mr. President,
You're going to have to take that off, please. You're very muffled, so if you would take it off, it would be a lot easier.
Okay.
I can't hear you!
Hello, there it is.
Yes.
I can't hear you. I said I can't hear you.
I can't hear you.
I can hear you.
I can't hear you. You're very muffled.
I can't hear you.
I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Yeah, make sure to subscribe. I can't hear you. Some of us are hard of hearing over here. I gotta read lips. So, have you guys ever heard of a saloon called, what was it called? Echo One, I think.
Closely following the recovery of the Discoverer capsule at Cape Canaveral, another historic satellite is ready for launching. In this nose cone is packed the 100-foot balloon of Echo One to be carried into orbit by a Thor-able Delta rocket. It's only the second firing of this three-stage missile, but the 92-foot rocket performs flawlessly. This launching, closely followed by successful tests of Atlas and Polaris rockets, was a landmark in America's spectacular two-day display of progress in space research.
This is the satellite, a huge empty balloon, here shown while still in its hangar. The inflated balloon is 10 stories high, made of a strong, new, aluminized plastic. Strong, yet only half as thick as the cellophane around a package of cigarettes. Strong, yet only half as thick as the cellophane around a package of cigarettes. Its aluminum coating gives it nearly 100% reflectivity. That balloon will soon be hurtling across the sky 1,000 miles high over North America. It will be bounced off a man-made satellite. If it works, it will be the first time voice has traveled from the Earth up to a man-made moon and back to Earth again.
This is President Eisenhower speaking. It is a great personal satisfaction to participate in this first experiment in communication.
President Eisenhower's voice was picked up loud and clear, making Echo a success.
Because that when they knew God, they glorified him not as God, neither were thankful, but became vain in their imaginations, and their foolish heart was darkened. Professing themselves to be wise, they became fools, and changed the glory of the uncorruptible God into an image made like to corruptible man, and to birds, and four-footed beasts, and creeping things. They became fools. They became fools. They became fools.
It's our privilege today
changed the glory of the uncorruptible God into an image made like to corruptible man, and to birds, and four-footed beasts, and creeping things.
Okay, so welcome, No Pearls Before Swine. Good to see you. And RH, I didn't say welcome to you either. Welcome. So did you guys hear that Kamala Harris, the VP, was she went to NASA for a big thing recently, and the sign language interpreter quit? Here, check it out. I have a clip of it.
Introduce Vice President Harris. I'll never forget getting out of my seat on my first space flight in 2001 and looking out the window for the very first time. You see the Earth as this big round ball just floating there in the blackness of space, and you immediately get this sense how we are all in this together. And I know that everybody in this room understands how important space will be, understanding the causes and effects of global climate change. Space-based scientific research is crucial. Lastly, and this is something that's
Yeah, the guy quit. I could read lips because he wasn't wearing a mask. I could see him saying, "It's flat, dude. It's flat, dude." The guy walked off. It happens. Oh, a quick reminder here. Yeah, I'd subscribe. Whoops. This isn't the right video. So, let's see here. That's about all I had, really, but I was thinking I'll find another video here. Welcome to... I saw someone else. Trina Elaine, good to see you. Good to I like to see people laughing. That's good. Let's see here. Oh, it's just crazy, the world we live in. With all the masks and all the scorpion stings and everything that's going on, if you know what I mean. Space stinks, though. It stinks. That's what they say. Let's hear the astronauts talk about it a little bit once I find it. Oh wait, masked hysteria. This video is even better. I'll follow up with the one I was just mentioning about space stinking. But speaking of the world we live in, and like I see so much awful stuff happening, like especially to children, like how children are being treated and abused these days. And you probably know what I mean. Children ages 5 to 11 receiving abuse. That's what I call it. And actually, No Pearls Before Swine actually might have mentioned this in Revelation. They commented, Revelation 18, verse 23. The light of the lamp shall not shine in you anymore. The voice of the bridegroom and bride shall not be heard in you anymore. For your merchants were the great men of the earth. For by your sorcery all the nations were deceived. Sorcery. That's the same. That's like pharmacy. Might as well just say pharmacy. Anyway. Let's pay attention to some of the weirdness going on in our world.
Wow, this gonna be first.
Upgrade the vaccines just makes common sense. One layer
you put another layer on it.
You're going to have to take that off, please.
You have a physical covering with double masking.
You're very muffled.
Upgrade the vaccine. Double masking. You have a physical covering with one layer. You put another layer on it. Just makes common sense.
Excuse me, sir, why are you not wearing a mask?
I have numerous complex systems which could be adversely affected. Don't mention it.
This is your brain on the mask. Any questions? And they keep touching their face.
This is what happens to your brain after
The mask.
This is what your body goes through.
With masks.
Wait, it's not over yet. This is what your family goes through. Your friends and mine. Back to the future. And your life. Any questions?
And he caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name.
Workers will be sent home and you will not be allowed in. Normal temperature. Normal temperature. Normal temperature. Normal temperature. High temperature.
All right, listen to this. A local Chinese restaurant is taking drastic measures to keep the staff and customers from the coronavirus. So no one is allowed to be seated without a temperature check. So the temperature check may be the new norm as this virus continues to spread.
I have passed out probably 6 times in the past 6 weeks.
You have to move back. You have to remember your spacing. Move back. That's too close. If you can touch the person in front of you, that means you're way too close. If you can touch the person in front of you, if you can touch the person in front of you, if you can touch the person in front of you, that means you're way too close.
That's right, Buzzin'23. The prophecy is being fulfilled, like in so many ways that I wouldn't have expected any of it to be fulfilled, which is amazing. But another reason to take the idea of space being the bottomless pit or the abyss, the darkness upon the face of the deep. Another thing to consider is what they say about how it smells. Even though if it's a vacuum, it really shouldn't have any smell, but think that they're a little bit off in their judgment of what they're doing up there.
And then as soon as they wanted to open the hatch, the cosmonaut and astronaut who were with me told me, "Are you ready for the smell of space? Because it's a very unique smell and this is the only time you can smell it." So I was ready there and they opened the hatch and I take a good whiff and it smelled something like a burnt cookie. And I kept telling them, "It feels weird. It's very
People are
unique."
baking in space.
I know.
When they opened the hatch, did Dragon have that new car smell?
It absolutely did. In fact, there was a little bit of space smell in the vestibule, and then when we got that hatch open, you could tell it was a brand new vehicle. Space smell.
Things don't smell the same.
Their burnt steak and gunpowder smell that many astronauts report in the airlock. That's one of the few smells you can smell strongly.
You're inside the spaceship most of the time. The only time you could smell space is when you come back in from a spacewalk. And as you repressurize the airlock and open the hatch, there's a distinctive smell to it. And it smells a little bit like being on a shooting range, like that sort of lingering gunpowder cordite smell. So maybe a little bit like brimstone. That's what it smells like.
Owen from San Francisco says, "They say that the sense of smell creates the strongest memories for a person. What does the ISS smell like, and what scent do you miss on Earth?" The ISS, we've got a really good filtering system. There's air flowing. In fact, everything you hear when you're up here is fans going and air circulating. So we're constantly getting a fresh supply of oxygen. We're constantly getting the carbon dioxide scrubbed and all the other things filtered out. So it really doesn't smell, although when we first docked with the shuttle, there was a noticeable smell, but you get accustomed to it very quickly, so I can't tell anything anymore. There's one smell up here that's really unique, though, and that is the smell. We just call it the smell of space, but we experience it when I haven't had a chance to do a spacewalk yet. I'm still waiting and hoping for that. But when other guys did, and they came back in, after we repressurized and opened up the volume for them to come back into the station, there's this really, really strong metallic smell. And I don't know exactly what it is. Something to do with maybe atomic oxygen interacting with the suit materials, or we're not exactly sure what it is. It's a very distinct smell, and it's the smell of space. It's really cool.
When you come in from a spacewalk, you're surrounded by the emptiness of space. It's sort of like the opposite of air. There's nothing there at all. When you quickly repressurize the hatch and you open up the hatch and you smell, what is that lingering smell from a place that used to be exposed to space? The smell in there is a little bit like that trace of a smell of gunpowder or burnt steak, or sort of like brimstone, like a witch has just been there. It's a cool, lingering trace of a smell. I think what it really is, brimstone, like sort of that metallic gunpowder-fired smell, that a witch has just been there.
And he will imprison those angels who have shown unrighteousness in that burning valley which my grandfather Enoch had formerly shown to me in the west among the mountains of gold and silver and iron and soft metal and tin. And I saw that valley in which there was a great convulsion, and a convulsion of the waters. And when all this took place, from that fiery molten metal and from the convulsion thereof in that place, there was produced a smell of sulfur, and it was connected with those waters. And that valley of the angels who had led astray mankind burned beneath that land. And through its valleys proceed streams of fire, where these angels are punished who had led astray those who dwell upon the earth.
And God said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." And God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And God called the firmament heaven. And the evening and the morning were the second day.
The weird part about it is space is so incredibly black, so incredibly dark. It's a bottomless pit of deep black. Almost so deep it almost has a texture when you look at it. And
Even darkness which may be felt.
Yes, so there's something to understand about space exploration. I think it's so clear in the scriptures too, like the Apocrypha. The vision of St. Paul is one that very clear about what he saw. I think he said under the firmament of heaven. And the ascension of Isaiah. 2 times he went and passed through the firmament, and he saw Satan's angels fighting with each other in the firmament. And the fact that Satan is cast out of heaven in Revelation, that would kind of say that he's in heaven, right? He has a dominion there. And right now he's got a, what do you call it? A poster child or something, maybe. Maybe that's wrong, but he has like a representative on the earth right now doing his work, trying to ascend into heaven and build a world for mankind.
And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. And they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time. And God said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years, and think to change times and laws."
Life can become multiplanetary. This is the goal we should strive for. There need to be reasons to get up in the morning. You know, life can't just be about solving problems. Otherwise, what's the point? There's got to be things that people find inspiring and make life worth living. What are the important steps in the evolution of life? Obviously, there was the advent of single-celled life. There was differentiation to plants and animals. There was life going from the oceans to land. There was mammals, consciousness, and I would argue also on that scale should fit life becoming multiplanetary. I think if one could make a reasonable argument that something is important enough to fit on the scale of evolution, then it's important. And maybe worth a little bit of our resources.
And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name, and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven, tabernacle in heaven.
I believe that it's important for the future to be a spacefaring civilization, and out there, ultimately be out there among the stars,
Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord.
Be out there among the stars,
be
out there among the stars,
and though thou set thy nest
among the stars. This is hopefully the first step on a journey towards a civilization on Mars, life becoming multiplanetary, you know, based on the moon and expanding beyond Earth and
among the stars,
be out there among the stars, life becoming multiplanetary.
And liftoff.
And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth.
liftoff of the SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket.
And he had 2 horns like a lamb. And he spake as a dragon.
Launching Dragon,
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 the dragon,
Dragon,
the dragon,
Dragon,
the dragon.
to the International Space Station.
And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority.
Dragon blasted to space.
The dragon.
Dragon is expected to stay attached to the space station until October 28th.
And they worshipped the dragon which gave power unto the beast.
Dragon is currently the only craft capable of returning a significant amount of supplies from the station.
He was cast out into the earth.
Okay, I'm pausing it because if you... Do you notice that I'm using the scripture recording to say these things in the video? There's a story there, though. And what I'm trying to point out is that we're living in the time that John was shown in his vision. I don't know what part of the time. I'm just saying, if we're carefully looking at what the scriptures say in Revelation, like and the context of it, it was a vision of what must come to pass. It was like in the year 500 or whatever, 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago. Everybody since then has known about this dragon. But it did. If they came and went, the dragon didn't. But guess what? Look at the world we live in, and look at the condition it's in, and the condition of the people, and their minds seem to be I don't know. I mean, life is life and everything continues on, but in a certain way, I see this story happening, and I know the rest of the story that John wrote down. And if we're in the middle of that, then this would make sense. And I have another video to play. The book of Daniel. It's actually, it'll explain itself. But I believe that Daniel saw this exact same, I don't know what you call it. It's a rocket, but it's more than that. It's like it's a way of life for this world, you guys. It brings people to space, and then it is cast out into the earth. There's war happening in heaven, and you know, one other important part about that, I believe, is God ordained the stars. We were talking about the stars earlier, and that they circle Polaris, or that they're right by there. And all of them do, no matter where you are. And if you go to the south, they do. It continues on all the way as far as you can see in the south. It's a big, huge thing over our heads, no matter where you are on the earth. But this is important. So this thing that they've built, that they have, they believe in it. And it's deception. And there's more about this 2-stage rocket is the very rocket that lands and is reusable. They've landed it over 100 times and reused up they've reused the booster up to like 11 times, or it's probably more by now. But that's the last I can remember. It was they reused, one of them was the 11th flight, I think, of that booster, which is pretty crazy, but because this is not a small feat if you think about what's happening. We could go over some of the massive fuel consumption and the everything that happens in a short amount of time. Then we could talk about the sound. Pretty sure Enoch heard that sound. Oh yeah, I wanted to say hello to sorry. I saw some new names, and Awakening and Aware Soldier. Welcome. And this was a while ago, so I probably missed some of these people. Salted Cedar, how you doing? And Self-Sufficient Human. That's a cool name for a channel. Self-Sufficient Human. I like it. J Law says, Elon Musk, you're in big trouble. Well, this is the you know, it's kind of weird. Let me look something up just while we have this thing on the screen. First of all, I recall Jesus saying, there's two things that I'm thinking about right now. I recall him saying that he saw Satan fall like lightning from heaven or something like that. And when I think about that, that might be something that that he was talking about. He's outside of time. Think about this. That's why these things are like clear. They're very clear, and then a lot of people have the idea that it's not a metal rocket, that Satan's not a metal rocket. Well, let's just, there's actually, we'll watch that video about Daniel or whatever. It's a short one, but I'm going to play the rest of this video. There's still like 6 minutes of this video, and actually it might be in this video. I hope it is, actually. I'll pause it and let you know if it is, if it comes up. But there's a good chance that it is, actually, because there's 6 minutes left. But if it isn't, we'll watch it anyway after that. Scott Studo, how you doing? Yo, Joe, I need to ask. If I got COVID, am I being punished? No. No, you're not being punished by God. No, certainly not. I think if you got that you should just take care of yourself as well as you can till you do your best way to get better. And instead of, thinking like that, I would just, God's not out to get you. He's not out to punish you. I think that when people get sick, they get sick. That's what I say. And if you look at what Salted Cedar just commented, I'm not going to read it, but it almost seems like that could be part of it. That it's something other than what a lot of people seem to be under a spell, right? I don't want to say the wrong things on YouTube. You're feeling better? That's good. That's good. Just take care of yourself. You know how to do it. Eat good, rest. Yeah, Salted Cedar again. I'm going to probably agree exactly with what Salted Cedar just said. I mean, I've had the same thing. I mean, not in this recent thing, but I'm just saying I've been sick before to the point where I laid in bed for 3 days probably. And it was like, you know, cold and hot, and it just was awful. But it passes, and then you figure out how you're going to get your appetite back and start eating food. And it's a rough few days. That's happened to me more than once in my life. And, you know, a long time ago. So, I don't see it as the same that other people see it as, I would say. And yeah, I think it's also a real thing that's going around. So, I'm not saying that it, you know, doesn't exist or something. I'm just saying that I think it is possible that I can say this, that it's demonic and part of this story in Revelation, but I don't know that. But if you consider what's on your screen right now and where it's going, into that dark place, if you just consider that, and what I've been saying about what it is, that we've been taught to think of a bottomless pit to be beneath us only. Of course, it's beneath us. It's bottomless. But I would say if we start thinking what they experience up there, they have to go sideways. They have to go sideways. And people laugh when I say that. That's literally what they have to do. They have to be parallel with the surface of the earth. Whether it curves or not. So they think it curves. I have another idea. Actually, Paul, in the vision of St. Paul, explains it. It's like number 11, I think, if you want to look that up. But I've talked enough. I paused it for like 20 minutes now. This is important stuff to realize, that this is part of what people would what people would call the beast system or whatever. This is a huge part of it. It's the Satan part. The war in heaven fighting with Michael and his angels part. Remember there was 4 angels holding the 4 winds? Those angels. And that other angel was told John, this was in Revelation 7. He told John, or he said to the other angels, actually, not to John. John was just watching it or whatever. But he said to the other angels to hold the 4 winds till the servants of God were sealed in their foreheads. So what if that's the time we're in right now? And that battle's happening up in the sky, and those angels are just holding on. Because those 4 winds, it's given to them to hurt the earth and the sea. So it's going to be a bad thing. The 4 winds are the foundations of the earth in Enoch chapter 18, verses 1 through 5. If you're interested. All right, here we go. Whoops.
Good morning, welcome aboard. Dragon, SpaceX, ComCheck, ground stations.
SpaceX Dragon, we're go for launch. Let's light this candle.
3, 2, 1.
Ignition. Liftoff of the Falcon 9 and Crew Dragon. Go NASA, go SpaceX, Godspeed, Bob and Doug.
On behalf of the entire launch team, thanks for flying with Falcon 9 today. We hope you enjoyed the ride and wish you a great mission.
We would like to welcome you aboard Capsule Endeavour.
MD, Houston flight. Houston is go for undocking and departure.
Dragon is committed to undock.
SpaceX Dragon on Dragon to ground. We are ready for the systems brief.
Copy. As stated, Dragon's in a healthy state. We are proceeding toward the primary landing site, and your timeline is current. Visual, 2 drogues out.
200 meters. We are braced for splashdown.
Copy, brace for splashdown. Endeavour, on behalf of the SpaceX and NASA teams, welcome back to planet Earth, and thanks for flying SpaceX.
It's a humbling experience to be a part of what was accomplished.
It's great to see how excited everybody was. We hope it brings a little bit of brightness to a pretty tough 2020.
Advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic.
And through his policy also, he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand.
Being able to fly, being able to see over long distances, being able to communicate, and having access to all the world's information instantly from almost anywhere on the Earth. This is stuff that really would be magic, or would be considered magic in times past. Being a multi-planet species and being out there among the stars is important for the long-term survival of humanity. If you consider 2 futures, one where we are forever confined to Earth until eventually something terrible happens, or another future where we are out there on many planets, maybe even going beyond the solar system,
among the stars.
I think that second version is incredibly exciting and inspiring, and there need to be reasons to get up in the morning. Life can't just be about solving problems. Otherwise, what's the point? There's got to be things that people find inspiring. The future of humanity will fundamentally bifurcate along the lines of either single...
Okay, I think I'm gonna skip this because, excuse me, I think this is all like Elon Musk stuff. We've heard him enough. I want to go to this video here. So, I was mentioning Daniel, and this has some Revelation verses in it, but yeah, I think you'll get what I'm trying to say here. Oh, I gotta pause in the middle, because Scott Studo says he obviously knows the truth, so why does he do it? And that reminded me of John 17, something that I think is interesting. Let me find it here. He mentions the son of perdition when he was praying. And here it is. In verse 12, while I was with them in the world, I kept them in thy name. Those that thou gavest me I have kept, and none of them is lost, but the son of perdition, that the scripture might be fulfilled. I don't know what that means. I'll read it one more time, and we'll go back to the video. While I was with them in the world... Actually, I'll read the verse before. And the verse before... No, I'll just read that same verse 12 again. While I was with them in the world, I kept them in thy name. Those that thou gavest me I have kept. And none of them is lost, but the son of perdition, that the scripture might be fulfilled. And now I come to thee, and these things I speak in the world, that they might have my joy fulfilled in themselves. And then he keeps going. That's a good chapter. Okay, back to the video. Okay, here comes the part I was talking about. It switches right here, I think. And they worshipped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast, and they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? Okay, and this is the part of the video I was talking about.
Behold, an he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth, and touched not the ground. And the goat had a notable horn between his eyes. And he came to the ram that had two horns, which I had seen standing before the river, and ran unto him in the fury of his power. And I saw him come close unto the ram, and he was moved with choler against him, and smote the ram, and brake his two horns. And there was no power in the ram to stand before him, but he cast him down to the ground, and stamped upon him. And there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand. Therefore the he-goat waxed very great. And when he was strong, the great horn was broken. And for it came up four notable ones toward the four winds of heaven. And out of one of them came forth a little horn, which waxed exceeding great toward the south, and toward the east, and toward the pleasant land. And it waxed great, even to the host of heaven. And it cast down some of the host and of the stars to the ground, and stamped upon them. Yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifice was taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down. And an host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression, and it cast down the truth to the ground, and it practiced and prospered.
So, yeah, you don't live on a spinning ball, guys. And it does matter. So yeah, I think that's about all I had, I think. Or I could play some fun stuff. Let's watch Interesting Way to Orbit. So, what shape does that look like to you guys? Does that look like a straight line over a globe? Or does that look like they're going in a circle? Let me play it a little bit more. Circle, they're going in a circle. A circle. Get it? That's a circular orbit. And I'll tell you what. It's gonna look like a globe. From up there. Just think about it. Who's up there again? Well, we could go to the book of Jude. Hey, there's another place we could go. I know where. Have you guys ever heard of the deep? Like the abyss? Where the what is it? Outer darkness, where there'll be weeping and gnashing of teeth. You guys have heard of that, right? Let me find a video. That's kind of cool, I think. I can't remember what it's called or anything. But it was one I uploaded. It's somewhat new. Somewhat. Let's see. Here it is, I think. Oh wait, for we are many in the deep. I have like 3 different ones. Okay, there's 2 videos in this one, I think. If this is the right one, we'll find out, but yeah. That's a scary place. Here's actual NASA footage from 1996. Flight day 9 of STS-75.
Columbia and the satellite now 77 nautical miles apart. In that call reporting that the crew can see the tether and see the satellite. It's beautiful.
Franklin, we see a long line, a couple of star-like things, and a lot of things swimming in the foreground. Can you describe what you're seeing?
Well, the long line is a tether, and there's a little bit of debris that kind of flies with us, and it's illuminated by the sun at such low angle. So there's a lot of stray light, and it's getting washed out quickly, but Karl is trying to do a quick, good job here adjusting the cameras.
Copy that.
The satellite. Again, just moving into sunrise. 81 nautical miles now from Columbia.
Welcome, Daniel Mayer. I didn't say hi to you yet. And yeah, I think hell is beneath the earth. Like it's down. But a lot of times it could be because I'm understanding it maybe different than I used to. The spiritual realm, well, there's like boundaries for certain spirits. I know that because, like, the spirits of the giants, they dwell on the earth as spirits. And so I don't know how it all works, but I know that they're on the earth as spirits, and they torment men. So that's probably says a lot about what's, on the earth for spirits. But down in the ground, I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's like that. I think we think of it like that because it would be down. It seems like it would be down. And I think, like, the heart of the earth, in the heart of the earth, there's ways that it's referred to that definitely point down. But there's also this next video that's coming up right here. I think you'll like this. This is a story. And there's a surprise kind of ending to this video. But it's a cool animation that I found on YouTube. And I put music to it and some wording. But there's a story from the Bible of Jesus, and I can't remember exactly where he went, but you'll get the gist of it. But think about what he does, and then at the very end, think about what the surprise ending is, what that guy's doing. So you'll see what I mean.
As you can see, Gertrude is healthy and happy. You can just, if you look closely, you can just barely see the scar where the implant was put in. And now let's take a look at the real-time data that's being transmitted from Gertrude's Neuralink implant, Neuralink implant, Neuralink implant, Neuralink implant, Neuralink implant.
Some of you might have caught what I was getting at the end there. I was just pointing out that Jesus cast unclean spirits into a herd of swine. Elon Musk put his Neuralink device into a herd of swine. There's something similar there to that story. And then they put it into a monkey. And the monkey plays Pong with his brain. And I'm not even kidding. Okay, so in the comments, Daniel Mayer, I'm sorry to hear about your husband. That's hard. It makes sense to me that, excuse me, it makes sense to me that Sheol could be among us, but different dimensions, so to speak. Let me just give you my thoughts on this Sheol. You know, in Revelation, let's see, the key to the bottomless pit. Is that in Revelation 9? Whoops. I'm Googling it, guys. Revelation, let's see here. It is in 9. Key given, who is the key given to? Okay, let me go there. This just helps me to maybe understand it. I don't know. It might be wrong, but I'm going to go there. Okay. I'm going to bring you guys over to the desktop. Okay. And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth. And to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit, as the smoke of a great furnace. And the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. And there came out This is, you guys, this is actually what I was talking about when I thought that part of the pandemic story, or whatever you want to call it, and the things that are happening because of it, I see this being part of the story, maybe this part, but I don't know. Let's see. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power, as the scorpions of the earth have power. And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of God in their foreheads. And to them it was given that they should not kill them, but that they should be tormented for 5 months. So I don't know what it means, but it says, and their torment was as the torment of a scorpion when he striketh a man. How does a scorpion strike a man? Think about it. And in those days men shall seek death, and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them. So he gives a description, and so I'm not saying that I understand any of this. But there are parts of the story that I seem to understand, or that seems to be taking place in real life. But when they go to this place, let's see. So in the description, let's see, verse 10, it says, and they had tails like unto scorpions, and there were stings in their tails, and their power was to hurt men 5 months. And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon. Well, Apollo, that's when we went to the moon. Our eyes have been opened. But I think there's a way that some of this is explained in such a strange way. But in order to go to orbit, since I have Google up here, let me do this. I just want to explain that it's not just going up into the sky really fast or something. It's a very specific thing, and I almost picture that to be like the key to the bottomless pit. To launch into orbit. I just want to get a, let's see. Once a rocket, oh man, this doesn't, that's a short answer. That's a very short answer. Orbital space flight. They have to be going sideways really fast. And they think they're orbiting a globe. But I see it totally different. I see them going in circles. Right over the Earth. Just like exactly on the trajectory that they think they're on. But the Earth's always beneath them. They don't ever go around anything. Like over and upside down and around. They don't do that. But they picture themselves doing that because they picture themselves to be above a globe. Wonder why? Let me actually show you why. Here. We'll do this. I'm just trying to explain what I think going into orbit is. Well, let's just go to the quick Wikipedia just to get their general, what it says here. Okay, an orbital space flight or orbital flight is a space flight in which a spacecraft is placed on a trajectory where it could remain in space for at least one orbit. To do this around the Earth, it must be on a free trajectory which has an altitude at perigee, altitude at closest approach around 50 miles, 80 kilometers. This is the boundary of space as defined by NASA, the U.S. Air Force, and the FAA. To remain in orbit at this altitude requires an orbital speed of that. Let's see. Basically, I don't think there's anything in orbit that's going like much less than 17,000 miles an hour. And maybe a little slower than that. But to orbit, you have to be up high enough. You have to be out of the air, out of the thick air, pretty much where there's essentially no air. And NASA would say it's a vacuum because it's a place of nothing. It's a place of darkness where there's nothing. And they think that there's planets. There's 7 of them in the sky that are closer to the Earth. They appear to be closer to the Earth. And they appear to be something you can land Mars rovers on, even. But really, they're going into a place where they're in the bottomless pit. Think about it. They're falling. Everything in space is falling around something else. It's all a big prison. It's a prison. That's so scary to think about. It's a prison for evil spirits. So that's one other way that I kind of picture the deep to be in Genesis. I'll just show you really quick. In Genesis, the 2nd verse, it kind of shows us that. And it kind of shows us that it's a place that would be above. But here's Genesis 1, verse 1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. So he was above that darkness, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. The face of the deep. Well, that word is an abyss too. Let's see. Of the deep. Tehom. Deep sea abyss. So there's something to consider there. That there's an abyss under God, under his feet or whatever. Oh, that's another place. Actually, this is already in Psalm. Where is it? I'm just having a mind block. Oh, it's in Psalm 18? I don't know. Might be the wrong one. Whoops. That's the wrong one. Oh. No, this is the right one. Sorry, guys. He bowed the heavens also and came down, and darkness was under his feet. He rode upon a cherub and did fly. Yea, he did fly upon the wings of the wind. He made darkness his secret place. His pavilion round about him were dark waters and thick clouds of the skies. That's because that's heaven. Like it's so what I think is like in I think in 2 Peter 2 verse 4, for if God spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell and delivered them into chains of darkness to be reserved unto judgment. I think that he's talking about down from God's point of view, but that those chains of darkness, I think, is in the darkness. Like when the sun's not here, it's dark. I think that part of this creation gives us day and night, you know what I mean? And that's actually in Genesis also, right at the beginning. He created the light and the darkness, or he divided the day from the night and the light from the darkness. And then all before that, he created light. Before he even created the sun and the moon, he created light. So that's interesting. So let's see here. Yeah, that was a cool video, wasn't it? I like that one. 2.5 hours I've been streaming for. Wow. I'm just looking for good videos. I think I went through all the good ones. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I don't know. Second Beast. I don't even remember making this. Let's watch it. It's somewhat new, but I don't know if it's supposed to be on my channel. We'll find out. That was a good one, I think. I like that one. Let's see here. Because I have like quite a few videos that I haven't even watched for a long time. I make a lot of them, so... Ooh, there's one that's 15 minutes. That's awful long. Let's see if there's other ones. Oh! I don't know if that's the right one. Sun and Moon? I think it's this one. Let's check this one out. If it's the wrong one, I'll just like pause it and go to a different one. Sometimes I mix up my like partial edits so there won't be like the right words or something in there, and I'll be like, oh. I do that once in a while. Let's see here. Danielle Mayer says, what is the light he created again before the sun? I don't know. Let there be light, and there was light. He spoke it, and it happened. I don't know what that looked like. Let there be light, and there was light. Should we just read that really quick? Just so it's kind of like clear a little bit. So, it was just saying about... I'll just read from the beginning. In the beginning, God created... excuse me. God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void. And darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. So, right away he created light. And then it says in verse 6, it says, and God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And God called the firmament heaven. And the evening and the morning were the second day. So he created the firmament, and it's called heaven. And then in verse 9, the third day, and God said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas. And God saw that it was good. And God said, let the earth bring forth grass, and herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after its kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth. And it was so. Which is amazing if you think about it. Things grow with seeds to grow more. That's crazy. Pretty cool. Thank you. Excuse me. Okay. And the earth brought forth grass, and herb yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind. And God saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the third day. So then here's where he creates the sun and moon, is on the fourth day. So 3 days later. This is verse 14. And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven, to divide the day from the night. And let them be for signs, and for seasons, and for days and years. So that's what's in space, or whatever they call it space, but that's what's in the sky, and it's part of it's in the firmament, like inside of the firmament. Excuse me. And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven, to give light upon the earth. And it was so. And God made 2 great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. And he made the stars also. And God set them in the firmament of the heaven, to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the fourth day. So what I I'm not going to read the rest, but what I would point out that's interesting to me about that is any of these times that darkness is talked about in these first 4 days, it's just the opposite of light. Like it is a place. It's probably everywhere where there's not light. I don't know. But oh yeah, definitely. Daniel Mayer says, but light does seem to be coming from the sun from our perspective, anyways, and heat from the sun too. Definitely, the sun is it's the light for the earth. You know what I mean? It's everybody's daytime is when the sun goes over. So it like makes our life what it is as human beings, being, you know, as far as like a schedule, like days and we you know, like where I'm at right now, it's really low in the sky and it's cold, and in the summer it'll come closer and it'll be more above me and it'll be hot. You know, we get the heat from the sun and all that light, but there's some other kind of light. You know, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's daylight. I know that Jesus is the light of the world, but I don't know how that is. You know what I mean? Okay, so I'll see if I can, let's see. I'll see if I can finish up with a decent video, and then I'm probably going to head out. Thank you guys all for hanging out, though, for sure. Oh, the sun setting on flat Earth. Yeah, Danielle, I totally agree. We don't know. She says although the sun could just be the lens the actual light is shining through. Totally. And that reminds me of like the eclipse. Well, let's see here. Oh, you know what? I'll have a good video just of the stars that might be let me find it. Stars with music, just for fun. Let's watch it. Oh, it's like soft music. But yeah, look at how the stars work. They're moving. If you just think that you're spinning and as you're looking at that, you're gonna be on a different world. But if you actually think, wow, you're standing on solid ground, and those stars in the sky are actually moving, and those clouds, that's the sky. Oh, here's a cool time lapse I did. Right out my back door. Isn't that cool? This one I didn't do. This one is near the equator, because Polaris is on the horizon. That's Pleiades right there. Most of these are out my backyard. Salted Cedar's right on. He is the light of men. Yeah, that's in, I'll go there. That's in John 1. Whoops. My computer's maxed out. All things were made by him. Okay, that, whoops. I'm gonna turn it down a little bit. These are some cool time lapses. Okay, here we go. It starts talking about John in verse 6. There was a man sent from God whose name was John. The same came for a witness, to bear witness of the light, that all men through him might believe. He was not that light, but was sent to bear witness of that light. That was the true light, which lighteth every man that cometh into the world. He was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. He came unto his own, and his own received him not. But as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of God, even to them that believe on his name, which were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. I think that's what being born again is. Being born again of the Spirit of God instead of like the way we are now, being born now. So yeah, the stars are going to be something that we don't understand, that world up there in the way that it's not a solar system. Nobody's ever seen a solar system anyway. Have you seen the Earth circle around the sun? No. You've seen the sun rise in the east and set in the west. That's what you've seen. I know, because you live on the same world that I live on. The only one. The only one. So then, the Word made his dwelling among us. This is John 1:14. And the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us. And we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. John bare witness of him, and cried, saying, This was he of whom I spake. He that cometh after me is preferred before me, for he was before me. And of his fullness have all we received, and grace for grace. For the law was given by Moses, but grace and truth came by Jesus Christ. No man hath seen God at any time, only the begotten Son, which is in the bosom of the Father, he hath declared him. So John was something special anyway. He was sent for a certain thing, a certain reason, and it just said to bear witness of the light, the true light. So maybe only John knows. I'm just kidding. So yeah, then I'll continue on a little bit further on. The Pharisees were giving him trouble. And they asked him, and saith unto him, Why baptizest thou then, if thou be not that Christ, nor Elias, neither that prophet? John answered them, saying, I baptize with water. But there standeth one among you, whom ye know not. He it is, who coming after me is preferred before me, whose shoes latchet I am not worthy to unloose. These things were done in Bethabara, beyond Jordan, where John was baptizing. The next day John seeth Jesus coming unto him, and saith, Behold the Lamb of God, which taketh away the sin of the world. This is he of whom I said, After me, after me cometh a man which is preferred before me, for he was before me. And I knew him not, but that he should be made manifest to Israel. Did I read that right? But that he should be made manifest to Israel. Therefore am I come baptizing with water. And John bare record, saying, I saw the Spirit descending from heaven like a dove, and it abode upon him. And I knew him not, but he that sent me to baptize with water, the same said unto me. So did you hear what John just said? He was saying that he was sent there. He who... I lost my place. Okay, and I knew him not. But he that sent me to baptize with water... So he was sent to baptize with water. The same said unto me, Upon whom thou shalt see the Spirit descending, and remaining on him, the same is he which baptizeth with the Holy Ghost. And I saw and bear record that this is the Son of God. So that's how he knew, because he was, I don't know the story, but maybe in heaven, he was told about this, or maybe he was, I don't know. But there was somebody that was telling him how he would know the one who the Son of God was. So anyway, the next day he said it, and again the next day after John stood and 2 of his disciples, and looking upon Jesus as he walked, he saith, Behold the Lamb of God. And the 2 disciples heard him speak, and they followed Jesus. And then they ended up going with him, but this video's playing for the second time already now. I do have a video though, I think I put it in here already. It's some cool time lapses that are not these ones, or maybe there might be some of these ones in there. Did I already get it or not? Oh wait, let's watch this video right here.
Because that when they knew God, they glorified him not as God, neither were thankful, but became vain in their imaginations, and their foolish heart was darkened. Professing themselves to be wise, they became fools, and changed the glory of the uncorruptible God into an image, into an image, into an image, into an image made like to corruptible man, and to birds, and four-footed beasts, and creeping things. We speak that we do know, and testify that we have seen, and ye receive not our witness. If I have told you earthly things, and ye believe not, how shall ye believe if I tell you of heavenly things? And no man hath ascended up to heaven, but he that came down from heaven, even the Son of Man which is in heaven. For as the lightning cometh out of the east, and shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For wheresoever the carcass is, there will the eagles be gathered together. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so, Amen. Because thou sayest, I am rich, and increased with goods, and have need of nothing, and knowest not that thou art wretched, and miserable, and poor, and blind, and naked? I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried in the fire, that thou mayest be rich, and white raiment, that thou mayest be clothed, and that the shame of thy nakedness do not appear. And anoint thine eyes with eye salve, that thou mayest see. As many as I love, I rebuke and chasten. Be zealous therefore and repent. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come in to him, and will sup with him, and he with me. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come in to him, and will sup with him, and he with me.
Okay, I just thought of a video that I wanted to find, even if I wasn't live streaming, but I'm going to play this one while I still look for this other one. And I'll see if I can find it. Because it was a good one. It was a really good one. I'm going to find it. People tell me all the time that I don't present any evidence of the Earth being stationary. For you guys, the Earth being stationary, the evidence for it is the Earth being stationary. You're observing it right now. You can reject it and be a science denier and deny your own observations. But that wouldn't be science. You're not going to learn anything if you reject the observation you make. You're going to make assumptions, and you're going to create a construct in your mind of a rotating Earth that you do not observe. And you're going to do all of this from the Earth beneath your feet where you're not turning or rotating, and it's still. I don't think I found it. I might have, though. I don't know what video this is, but I don't think it's the right one, but we're going to try it. I want to remind you of something. I want you to remember something. That ye may be mindful of the words which were spoken before by the holy prophets, and of the commandment of us, the apostles of the Lord and Savior. Knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers, walking after their own lusts, and saying, Where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of the creation. For this they willingly are ignorant of, that by the word of God the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of the water and in the water, whereby the world that then was, being overflowed with water, perished. But the heavens and the earth which are now, by the same word, are kept in store, reserved unto fire against the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men. But, beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day. The Lord is not slack concerning his promise, as some men count slackness, but is longsuffering to usward, not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to repentance. But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness, looking for and hasting unto the coming of the day of God, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. Nevertheless, we, according to his promise, look for new heavens and a new earth, wherein dwelleth righteousness. Okay, here's another one.
I came down from heaven, not to do mine own will, the will of him that sent me. And this is the Father's will which hath sent me, that of all which he hath given me I should lose nothing, but should raise it up again at the last day. And this is the will of him that sent me, that every one which seeth the Son, and believeth on him, may have everlasting life. And I will raise him up at the last day.
Okay, I found it. Okay, this one is, well, it's just a news piece at first, and you'll see. But I'm going to head out after this. Thank you guys for hanging out, and I hope you all have a good week, or whatever you want to call it. A good day, good year, good month. Here we go. Normal's not going to return, you guys.
Michael, good morning.
Good morning, Jeff. There's been one question here in New York City. All the people behind me here have been asking it. When will normal life return? We asked Dr. Fauci. Here's what he had to say.
Talking about getting back to a degree of normality which resembles where we were prior to COVID.
Well, actually, never mind. Doesn't matter what Fauci says. Normal life isn't going to return. Jesus is.